There's something special about old harrows. Lift a section of a vintage disc harrow and you immediately feel the difference. Real, heavy steel built to survive generations of work. Compare that to many modern harrows, and the contrast is shocking. Back then, manufacturers used thick steel plates, cast iron hubs, and forged parts. Today, you often see thin sheet metal, stamped components, and even plastic bushings. The classics on our list come from a time when durability mattered more than cutting costs. These machines outlasted tractors, farmers, and even the companies that made them. Let's count down 10 old harrows that truly prove they don't make them like they used to. Number 10. John Deere BWA Disc Harrow. Starting our countdown at number 10 is the John Deere BWA Disc Harrow, a tandem disc that defined quality construction from the 1950s through the 1970s. The BWA wasn't the fanciest harrow John Deere ever made, but it might have been the toughest, and that's saying something when talking about Deere equipment. The BWA featured John Deere's legendary heavy-duty construction. The frame was built from massive structural steel, not lightweight tubing, but real channel iron and I-beams that could handle decades of stress without bending or breaking. The gang bolts were thick forgings, not cheap fasteners that would wear out after a few seasons. Every component was designed for long-term durability. What made the BWA special was the disc blade quality. John Deere used high-carbon steel heat-treated to exact specifications. These blades could cut through tough sod, penetrate compacted soil, and handle rocks that would destroy modern discs. Farmers report BWA blades lasting 20 or 30 years before needing replacement. That's unheard of with modern equipment where blades might only last a few seasons. The bearing assemblies on BWA harrows were properly engineered with greasable tapered roller bearings. This wasn't economy engineering. These were the same quality bearings you'd find in truck wheels or industrial equipment. With regular greasing, these bearings would last indefinitely. Many BWA harrows are still running on their original bearings after 50+ years. John Deere's attention to detail showed in features like the hydraulic lift system. The cylinders were heavy-duty industrial units, the hoses were quality hydraulic lines, and the mounting points were reinforced to handle the tremendous weight. Everything was designed to work together as a system that would last generations. Number 9. International Harvester Tandem Disc Harrows. At number 9, we have International Harvester Tandem Disc Harrows from the 1950s through 1970s. Machines that exemplified IH's reputation for building agricultural equipment tough enough to survive farm life. These harrows featured construction so robust they've become legendary among farmers who appreciate quality. I-disc harrows were built with a simple philosophy: make every component heavier and stronger than necessary. The frame members were massive, often 6-inch or 8-inch channel iron when 4-inch would have sufficed. The gang assemblies used forgings instead of castings, eliminating weak points. The disc blades were thick, high-quality steel that could handle abuse that would destroy lesser discs. What set IH harrows apart was their weight. These machines were heavy, sometimes weighing 50% more than comparable models from competitors. Farmers initially complained about this weight, but over decades they learned it was a feature, not a bug. That weight meant better soil penetration, more aggressive cutting action, and frames that stayed straight and true, even in the toughest conditions. The bearing systems on IH harrows were engineering marvels. Heavy-duty sealed bearings in cast iron housings meant these harrows could work in the dirtiest, dustiest conditions without failures. Many IH harrows have worked thousands of acres in sandy or abrasive soils and are still running on original bearings with nothing more than occasional regreasing. IG's red paint might fade, but the steel underneath is built to last centuries, not just decades. The company understood that farmers buying equipment in the 1950s expected to pass it down to their children, and they built accordingly. Stories of 3-generation IH harrows are common, with grandchildren using equipment their grandfathers bought new. Number 8. Allis-Chalmers Disc Harrows. Coming in at number 8 are Allis-Chalmers Disc Harrows, machines painted in the company's distinctive Persian orange that became symbols of durability and quality construction. Allis-Chalmers believed in over-engineering everything they built, and their harrows showed this philosophy in every component. The frame construction on Allis-Chalmers harrows was extraordinary. Where other manufacturers might use single pieces of channel iron, Allis welded multiple pieces together to create massive, rigid structures. The welds were done by skilled craftsmen, often with more penetration than strictly necessary, ensuring joints that would never fail. This overbuilding meant Allis-Harrows were among the heaviest on the market. Allis-Chalmers used premium materials throughout their harrows. The disc blades were forged from high-quality steel and heat-treated to exacting specifications. The gang bolts were massive forgings that could handle tremendous forces without bending. The bearing assemblies featured the best available bearings in properly engineered housings. Nothing was cheapened to save costs. What makes Allis-Harrows special today is their combination of weight and quality that creates nearly indestructible machines. These harrows can work the toughest ground, rocky hillsides, root-filled virgin ground, heavily compacted soils, without the breakdowns that plague modern equipment. The heavy construction that made them expensive in their day now makes them invaluable. The hydraulic systems on Allis-Harrows were built to industrial standards. Heavy-duty cylinders, quality hoses and fittings, and robust mounting points meant these systems worked reliably for decades. Many Allis-Harrows are still using original hydraulic components after 50+ years, testament to the quality of the original engineering. Number 7. Rome Disc Harrows. At number 7, we have Rome Disc Harrows, machines from a specialized manufacturer that focused exclusively on building the absolute best tillage equipment possible. Rome built harrows so tough that they're still considered gold standards of construction quality over half a century after production. Rome's philosophy was simple: build harrows so strong they'd never break, regardless of conditions. The company used heavier steel, more robust bearings, and better quality components than anyone else. A Rome harrow might cost 20% or 30% more than competitors, but farmers learned it would outlast 3 or 4 cheaper machines, making it the economical choice. The disc gangs on Rome harrows were engineering masterpieces. Each gang was built with precision-machined components, heavy forgings at stress points, and bearing systems that could handle years of abuse without maintenance. The disc blades themselves were legendary, thick, properly heat-treated steel that could cut through anything without dulling or breaking. What sets Rome harrows at number 7 is their reputation among farmers who've used multiple brands. Ask any old-timer who's worked with different harrows, and Rome equipment consistently gets mentioned as the strongest, most durable machines they've ever used. These aren't opinions based on nostalgia, they're observations based on decades of real-world use. The frame construction on Rome harrows is simply extraordinary. Massive structural steel members, professionally welded joints, and engineering that accounted for every stress and force the machine would encounter. Rome harrows rarely bend or break, even in conditions that would destroy modern equipment. Many have worked millions of square feet of ground and remain perfectly straight and true. Rome also paid attention to details other manufacturers overlooked. The clevis hitches were massively overbuilt. The hydraulic lift points were reinforced beyond normal standards. The adjustment mechanisms were designed to be easily accessible but rugged enough to never fail. Every aspect showed thoughtful engineering focused on long-term reliability. Number 6. Krause Tandem Disc Harrows. Landing at number 6 are Krause Tandem Disc Harrows, machines from a company that specialized in tillage equipment and built some of the toughest harrows ever made. Krause understood that serious farmers needed harrows that could handle thousands of acres year after year without major repairs, and they engineered accordingly. Krause harrows featured what the company called heavy-duty commercial construction, and they meant it. The frame members were massive, often 50% heavier than competitors' equipment. The gang assemblies used forgings at critical stress points. The bearing systems were industrial-grade components that would last indefinitely with proper maintenance. Nothing was built to minimum standards. What made Krause harrows legendary was their performance in tough conditions. These machines could work rocky ground, cut through heavy sod, penetrate compacted soils, and handle crop residue that would choke lesser harrows. The combination of weight, robust construction, and quality disc blades meant Krause harrows just kept working when other brands failed. The disc blades on Krause harrows deserve special mention. The company used premium steel properly heat-treated to achieve the perfect balance of hardness and toughness. These blades could handle rocks without shattering, maintain sharp edges for years, and resist wear even in abrasive soils. Many farmers report Krause blades lasting 2 or 3 times longer than modern replacement discs. Krause also engineered superior bearing systems. Heavy-duty tapered roller bearings in properly designed housings meant these Harrows could work in the dirtiest conditions without bearing failures. The bearing seals were quality components that actually kept dirt and dust out, unlike cheaper seals that fail after a few seasons. Many Krause Harrows are still running on original bearings after 40 or 50 years. The hydraulic lift systems on Krause Harrows were built to commercial standards. Heavy-duty cylinders with quality seals, robust mounting points that won't crack or break, and simple systems that any farmer can maintain and repair. These weren't complicated systems with multiple failure points, just straightforward engineering that works reliably. Today, Krause Harrows remain highly competitive working tools. They're particularly popular among farmers working challenging soils or large acreage where reliability is critical. The robust construction means these Harrows rarely break down, and when maintenance is needed, it's straightforward work any farm shop can handle. The used market reflects Krause's legendary reputation. Clean tandem disc Harrows typically sell for $3,500 to $9,000 depending on size, condition, and features. Some pristine examples command even more from farmers who understand they're buying equipment that will outlast them and probably their children too. Number 5. Oliver Disc Harrows. Coming in at number 5 are Oliver Disc Harrows, machines that represented the peak of tillage engineering before the company was absorbed by White. Oliver built Harrows with precision, quality, and durability that set standards the entire industry tried to match. Oliver's engineering philosophy emphasized precision as much as strength. Their Harrows weren't just built heavy, they were built right, with careful attention to geometry, bearing placement, and component design. The result was Harrows that not only lasted forever, but performed better than competitors throughout their working lives. The frame construction on Oliver Harrows was exceptional. Rather than just using heavy steel, Oliver engineers calculated exactly where stresses would occur and reinforced those points specifically. The welds were done to exacting standards by skilled craftsmen. The frame geometry was precisely calculated to provide optimal disc angle and penetration. This thoughtful engineering showed in superior field performance. Oliver's disc gangs were mechanical marvels. Each gang assembly was built with precision-machined components fitted together to exact tolerances. The bearing systems used the highest quality bearings available, properly sealed in machined housings. The gang bolts were forged steel with proper threads that wouldn't strip or wear. Every component was designed for multi-generational service. What sets Oliver Harrows at number 5 is their combination of durability and performance that remains unmatched. These machines don't just survive, they excel. Farmers report that Oliver Harrows leave better tilth, achieve better residue incorporation, and create superior seedbeds compared to modern equipment. The precision engineering creates real performance advantages. The disc blades on Oliver Harrows were legendary. Made from premium steel and properly heat-treated, these blades could handle extreme conditions without failing. They maintained sharp edges for years, resisted wear in abrasive soils, and could cut through the toughest materials. Many farmers keep stocks of Oliver blades specifically because modern replacement discs don't compare. Oliver also built superior hydraulic systems, heavy-duty cylinders with quality seals and rods, robust mounting brackets that won't crack, and simple, reliable designs that work year after year. Many Oliver Harrows are still using original hydraulic components after 50 or 60 years, testament to the quality engineering. Number 4. Massey-Harris, Massey-Ferguson. Disc Harrows. Taking the number 4 spot are Massey-Harris and early Massey-Ferguson disc Harrows, machines that combined British engineering precision with North American agricultural toughness. These Harrows, built from the 1940s through 1970s, represent some of the finest tillage equipment ever manufactured. Massey-Harris and early Massey-Ferguson built Harrows with attention to detail that's almost unbelievable by modern standards. The frame members were not just heavy, they were precisely fabricated and fitted together with skilled craftsmanship. The welds were done by experienced welders using proper techniques that created joints stronger than the base metal. The paint was quality enamel applied over proper primers. That's why some of these Harrows still show traces of original finish 70 years later. What makes Massey-Harris No. 4 is their extraordinary build quality combined with thoughtful engineering. These weren't just tough machines, they were smart designs that performed better because of careful attention to disc angles, spacing, and weight distribution. The British engineering influence showed in precision manufacturing and quality control that American competitors rarely matched. The disc gangs on Massey-Harris featured precision components manufactured to tight tolerances. The gang bolts were forged and machined to exact specifications. The bearings were premium units properly fitted into machined housings. The disc blades were made from high-quality steel, properly heat-treated to exacting standards. Every component reflected Massey's commitment to quality over cost. Massey engineers also understood the importance of proper weight distribution. Their Harrows were designed to maintain consistent disc penetration across the entire width, ensuring uniform tillage. The frame geometry was calculated to provide optimal cutting angles and soil flow. These engineering details meant Massey-Harris performed better than heavier competitors. The hydraulic systems on Massey-Harris were built to commercial standards, unusual for agricultural equipment. Heavy-duty cylinders with quality seals, robust mounting points, and simple, reliable designs. Many Massey-Harris are still using original hydraulic components after 50-plus years, requiring nothing more than occasional seal replacement. Number 3. Case Tandem Disc Harrows. Taking the bronze medal at number 3 are Case Tandem Disc Harrows. Machines so tough that farmers have literally used them as anchors to pull stuck tractors from mud. Case built these Harrows during their old reliable era, when the company's reputation was built on equipment that simply would not break regardless of abuse. Case Harrows exemplified the company's philosophy of over-engineering everything. The frame members were massive, 8-inch or 10-inch channel iron, when lighter materials would have sufficed. The gang assemblies used heavy forgings at every stress point. The bearing housings were cast iron, properly machined and assembled. Nothing was built to minimum standards. Everything exceeded requirements. What puts Case Harrows at number 3 is their legendary indestructibility. These machines have worked the rockiest ground, the toughest virgin sod, and the most compacted soils without major failures. Farmers report working Case Harrows for 50 or 60 years without frame repairs, broken gangs, or major component failures. That level of reliability is unheard of in modern agricultural equipment. The disc blades on Case Harrows were forged from premium steel and heat-treated to exacting specifications. These blades could cut through roots, rocks, and compacted soil without dulling or breaking. Many farmers report Case blades lasting 20 or 30 years before needing replacement, 3 or 4 times longer than modern discs. Case bearing systems were industrial-grade components that could handle decades of abuse. Heavy-duty tapered roller bearings properly sealed in cast iron housings meant these Harrows could work in the dirtiest, dustiest conditions without bearing failures. Many Case Harrows are running on original bearings after 60-plus years, with nothing more than periodic regreasing. The weight of Case Harrows contributed to both their performance and longevity. These machines were heavy enough to penetrate any soil, cut through any residue, and stay in the ground even in challenging conditions. That weight also meant the frames experienced less stress and vibration, contributing to their incredible longevity. Case also built superior hydraulic lift systems. Heavy-duty cylinders with quality seals and rods, massive mounting points that would never crack or break, and simple, reliable designs that any farmer could maintain. Many Case Harrows are still using original hydraulic components after half a century of service. Number 2. John Deere Model L Disc Harrow. Coming in at our number 2 spot is the John Deere Model L Disc Harrow, a machine many farmers and equipment experts consider the finest disc harrow ever built. Produced primarily in the 1950s and 1960s, the Model L represented John Deere's peak engineering and manufacturing quality applied to disc harrow design. The Model L featured construction so robust it seems almost excessive by modern standards. The frame was built from massive channel iron and I-beam assemblies welded together by skilled craftsmen. The gang assemblies used precision forgings and castings that were machined to exacting tolerances. Every component was designed not just to survive, but to excel for generations of hard use. What puts the Model L at number 2 is its combination of unmatched durability and superior performance that remains relevant today. These Harrows don't just survive, they outperform modern equipment in real-world conditions. University studies have shown that well-maintained Model L Harrows create better seed beds and achieve better residue incorporation than many current production Harrows. The disc gangs on Model L Harrows were engineering masterpieces. Each gang was balanced and assembled to precise tolerances, ensuring smooth operation and minimal vibration. The bearing systems used the highest quality tapered roller bearings available. Properly sealed and maintained, they last indefinitely. The gang bolts were massive forgings that could handle tremendous forces without bending or breaking. John Deere's disc blades for the Model L were legendary. Made from premium high-carbon steel and heat-treated to exacting specifications, these blades could handle the most challenging conditions. They maintained sharp edges for years, resisted wear in abrasive soils, and could cut through materials that would destroy lesser discs. Many farmers still seek original Deere blades specifically because modern replacements don't compare. The hydraulic system on Model L Harrows was built to standards unusual for agricultural equipment of that era. Heavy-duty cylinders with quality seals, robust mounting points, and simple, reliable designs that work reliably for decades. Many Model L Harrows are still using original hydraulic components after 60-plus years, requiring nothing more than occasional seal replacement. John Deere's attention to detail showed in features like the transport system, adjustment mechanisms, and hitch design. Everything was thoughtfully engineered for ease of use combined with long-term durability. The Model L could be easily adjusted for different soil conditions and crop requirements, yet those adjustment mechanisms were built to survive decades of use without wearing out. Number 1. Rome Plow Company Heavy-Duty Disc Harrows. And taking the top spot at number 1 are Rome Plow Company Heavy-Duty Disc Harrows. Machines so indestructible, they've become legendary among farmers who've used them. Rome built these harrows for land clearing and primary tillage in the toughest conditions imaginable, and that over-engineering created harrows that will literally outlast everything else on this list. Rome Plow Company didn't build ordinary farm equipment. They built tools for clearing virgin timber, breaking virgin prairie, and working ground so tough that ordinary harrows would be destroyed in hours. Their heavy-duty disc harrows featured construction that seems almost unbelievable. Frame members made from structural steel thick enough for bridge construction, disc gangs built like industrial machinery, and components so robust they'd be at home in mining or construction equipment. What makes Rome heavy-duty harrows our number 1 choice is their absolute indestructibility combined with performance that remains unmatched. These machines have cleared forests, broken virgin land, worked in rocky mountain soils, and handled conditions that would destroy any other harrow ever built. Many Rome harrows have worked for 60, 70, even 80 years without major repairs, which is simply unheard of in agricultural equipment. The frame construction on Rome heavy-duty harrows defies description. Multiple layers of heavy channel iron and I-beams welded together to create structures weighing several tons. The welds were done by craftsmen using techniques that created joints stronger than the base metal. These frames simply do not bend, break, or fail regardless of conditions. The disc gangs on Rome harrows were built to industrial standards. Massive forged gang bolts, industrial-grade bearing assemblies, and precision-machined components assembled to exacting tolerances. These gangs could handle forces that would destroy ordinary harrow gangs, yet they operated smoothly and reliably for decades without major maintenance. Rome's disc blades deserve special recognition. These weren't ordinary agricultural discs. They were heavy-duty cutting tools made from premium steel and heat-treated to withstand conditions no ordinary blade could handle. Rome blades could cut through roots 6 inches thick, handle large rocks, and penetrate the most compacted soils without dulling or breaking. Many Rome blades have worked for 30 or 40 years and are still serviceable. The bearing systems on Rome harrows used industrial components, rated for far more severe service than agricultural equipment. Heavy-duty sealed bearings in massive cast housings meant these systems could handle years of abuse in the dirtiest conditions without failure. Many Rome Harrows are still running on original bearings after half a century or more. Rome also built hydraulic systems to industrial standards. Heavy-duty cylinders with quality seals and rods, mounting points that could handle tremendous forces, and simple, reliable designs that work for decades. Everything was over-engineered because Rome understood their harrows would be used in conditions that would destroy ordinary equipment. There you have it, 10 old harrows that were built stronger than anything you can buy today. From the tough John Deere BWA to our champion, the virtually indestructible Rome Plow Company heavy-duty disc harrows. These machines prove that quality construction and thoughtful engineering create tools that can serve multiple generations of farmers. What all these harrows share is construction that prioritized durability and performance over cost savings and planned obsolescence. They were built during an era when manufacturers competed on quality, when companies understood that their reputations depended on building equipment that would work for 50 or 100 years. The result was harrows that have outlasted the tractors that pulled them, the farmers who bought them, and sometimes even the companies that built them. The contrast with modern equipment is striking. Where old harrows used quarter-inch or thicker steel, today's models use sheet metal. Where vintage harrows had cast iron and forgings, modern ones use stamped parts and plastic bushings. Where old machines were built to last generations, new ones are designed to survive loan periods. The difference isn't just nostalgic observation, it's measurable reality. For farmers looking at used tillage equipment, these vintage harrows represent exceptional value. They consistently outwork and outlast modern equipment while costing a fraction as much. They're repairable in any farm shop without specialized tools or factory technicians. And they'll likely be working long after today's new harrows have been scrapped. If you own one of these legendary harrows, you're not just using vintage equipment, you're working with tools that represent the pinnacle of agricultural manufacturing quality. And if you're considering used tillage equipment, any harrow on this list would serve your operation well for decades to come. What's your experience with old harrows? Are you running vintage equipment that outworks modern machines? Do you have harrows that have been in your family for generations? Drop a comment below and share your stories. And if you enjoyed this countdown, smash that like button and subscribe for more content about the farm equipment they don't build anymore. Until next time, keep working that ground with real iron.